Hi, I'm State Representative Stephanie Thomas, and although I may be in politics now, the path was a little circuitous. I started off in poverty, but I had the access to a great public school education, so I worked hard. I did well. I attended New York University for undergrad, and I started working in the nonprofit sector. I decided very early in life that public service and giving back is what I enjoyed, so I went on to get my master's in nonprofit management, thinking that I would open and run my own nonprofit one day. But life has a way of intervening. And while I was in graduate school, I started a 3-week internship that turned into a 19-year career where I worked my way up to become president of a small fundraising consulting company. I later went on to open my own company, which I was doing very successfully. And then in 2017, I decided to get more involved in my community. I started volunteering. I started learning about politics in Connecticut. And one thing led to another, and I ran for state representative in 2018 after doing what so many of us do. We sit on the sidelines and we say, how come fill in the blank hasn't done fill in the blank? I decided I was the person who could try to fill in the blank. So I ran in 2018, but I lost, but only by a few hundred votes. So I ran again in 2020. I won, and I was very gratified to be named as vice chair of our elections committee here in Connecticut. And it was during that work that I realized that what had been my passion, making sure people registered to vote, making sure people voted in every single election, not just presidential elections, I realized that not everyone was on the same page. And when our current Secretary of the State retired, I thought this position sounds like the perfect job for me because it marries both the election side but also business, which is something that I credit for helping me catapult myself out of poverty. And I think our communities are so much stronger for all the small businesses. So I decided to run after I wasn't hearing in the conversation what I thought was the most important thing. And it feels like so many people don't vote, sometimes because they don't even know there's an election happening, sometimes because they think their voice doesn't matter, and at other times, life just intervenes. And it feels like we are at a point where mistrust, distrust is so high that we really need to focus on civic education and civic engagement. It's the missing piece of the puzzle. If you can teach people that their voice matters and how to make their voice count, and then you engage them in that activity, I think we begin to move the needle differently, further, and faster. No matter what you believe in, you have to engage with our democracy, with government, in order to make it work. And I think here, this is not a Connecticut problem, it's a United States problem. We always talk about our civic responsibility as voting. But Election Day is just one day, and we really have to get involved and get engaged the other 364 days of the year to make sure we make our vote count. As a legislator, I know it would benefit me when I heard from members of my community way beyond Election Day. I need to know what they think, what they want, how they feel. Whether they were for or against a bill, it helped me to receive an email or a phone call. And I think that is true for all policy. So I hope you'll get behind me and vote for me on November 8th. You can also vote by absentee ballot. You can go to votestephaniethomas.com for lots of information in English and Spanish about me, about our elections. And you will also find my platform there about how I hope to help the business community, which is a huge part of the job and something that I'm equally as passionate about. Thank you for listening.